I woke up that morning and I looked over to my partner sleeping next to me and I thought, today is the day. I looked back up at the ceiling and I had an overwhelming feeling that my body was once again heavy from a terrible night's sleep. And yet I still had that overwhelming feeling that today was the day. I wasn't excited. I wasn't nervous. I just knew that something had to change. I was 26 years old. I was living in Toronto, which is the New York of Canada. It was absolutely wonderful. I was in love with everything, with life, with my partner, with my job, with the city. Everything was fantastic. I had pictured this for myself since I was 16 years old, living in the big city, living the life, the perfect life. I had landed myself a job in public relations. Finally, after years of trying to do that, I finally landed my dream job. I felt like Samantha in Sex and the City, working in public relations, the big city. I was loving it. And yet I had a moral code because I was working for a not-for-profit. I was better than Samantha. I absolutely love this job. I was working nationally, I was leading campaigns, I was winning awards. Everything was perfect. I had this perfect life that I had created for myself. My partner also fit into that picture. He was tall, dark, and handsome. That's right. He worked in finance, trust fund, 6'5" brown eyes. Adorable. He was well-traveled. He was educated. He was strong. The perfect guy for me. We met in my last year of university, and I moved all the way to Toronto just to be with him and to find my dream job. Everything was perfect. It was lining up so well. So I thought. See, my parents have been married for 55 years. Yes, 55 years. And most of those years have been very, very happy. And so that has always been the image of what I wanted in my life. The man who was going to make me giggle, the man who would hold my hand walking down the street or watching TV, the man that would hold my seat out, the perfect guy. That was the image I had. In public, that's what he was. He was attentive, he was caring, he was all smiles, the life of the party. In private, though, was something else altogether. A fight would turn into a day of not speaking to each other, turn into a week, a month, and so on. I would try to talk to him, and he would ignore me. If I tried to say anything to him, he would tell me I was stupid. These were moments that really started to chip away at my confidence. We had this great life together, so I thought, my perfect life. And I tried to mimic his finance life with my not-for-profit life, which meant that I had no money. A not-for-profit life is great until the paychecks start rolling in. And I tried so hard to make ends meet, and it just wouldn't meet. I had student loans. He didn't. I had credit card debt. He didn't. These were moments where I thought, how is this possible? How can I not make this work? I have to make it work. I have all of this trust in my company that they've given me, and yet that's not working. Can I ask for a raise? I don't think so. Because what if they tell me that I'm not good enough? I mean, I had seen all of my colleagues who had joined around the same time, and they had gotten promotions. They had gotten raises, fancier titles, and there I was. And I had this partner who seemed really, really wonderful to everyone else, and yet to me, I was often ignored, rebuffed. That day when I looked over at him, I thought, would today be the day? It had been a week since our last fight, and I turned and I said, and I thought, would he show me kindness today? So I knew something had to change. I just didn't know what. As much as I tried to make ends meet with all my finances, I had all of that debt. And then I started to eat poorly, of course. Who has money for organic food? And then I started to smoke like a chimney. My waistband expanded. The debts grew. And my perfect life was seemingly out of my grasp. I really, really wanted to put those doubts out of my head. I did. I had my mom's voice saying, "Hija, you can do it. You're great. You're educated. You're fabulous." And yet, with every cold shoulder, with every missed deadline, with every bounced check, my confidence waned. And so that day, I knew that I had to make something change. I drove myself over to Niagara Falls. Now, from Toronto to Niagara Falls is only about a 90-minute drive. It's great. And I was in my car and I was looking at all the beautiful trees and the bushes along the highway. And there were these images of golds and oranges and reds. It was the autumn. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. It was sunny, a blue sky. It's not often in Toronto, so a blue sky. And I thought, wow, this is a great day for change. But I wasn't really sure why I was going. I have to spend gas and spend money. But I went. As I arrived to Niagara Falls, I remembered that I had been there once before. I had been there during the winter. And I remember that I had these little icicles that had formed on my eyelashes and my eyebrows. And I thought, oh, that's right. These were the changes of the season. And with every change of the season, you have something different. It's the same, but different. I loved that image, and it made me smile. When I got to Niagara Falls, I started walking along the river on my right-hand side, and I could see all the natural debris floating along the river. I thought, how beautiful is this? There were pieces of trunks and leaves and just natural debris floating along. It was flowing with such purpose. And I thought, wow, how great is this? It's just floating down the river with purpose. It was strong and powerful. There was a simplicity to that. There was strength to it. I thought, interesting. Again, flowing, making that change towards something, going with purpose. When I finally got to the mouth of the falls, I could see the edge of the falls. And it was so clear and so clean and pristine. And I was watching the water fall down into the mist below. And I thought, wow, beautiful. But the water looked so shallow. And I thought, if somebody could walk along that edge, I bet they could fight the flow of that water. Surely they can. They have to. If they want it bad enough, surely they could do it, right? It's shallow enough. It's just water. Surely somebody could do it. It wasn't going to be me. But that's when it hit me. I was fighting the flow of my life. I had painted this ideal picture, and all of a sudden, there it went. I let it flow. I thought it could someday be something else. That water, just like in Niagara, it would someday be a river. Maybe it would turn into mist. Maybe even it would end up here at the ocean. That day, when I got home, I looked at my partner for the second time that day. And I finally asked the question that I was too scared to ask over the last few months. I turned to him and I asked, "Do you still love me?" The silence was palpable. I felt my stomach drop. The lump in my throat swelled. His silence was all I needed. So I let go. I didn't know where life would take me, but that day, I knew that that was the day that I had finally taken the first step to let go and flow.
Thanks,